To cap off the Saturday action, Man City will face off against Tottenham at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Liverpool will play Southampton at 8 a.m., followed by Ipswich Town taking on Man United. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Hard work. It's what drives Nebraska. It defines our strength. Men like you live it every day. But sometimes, living up to those expectations can be overwhelming. If you're struggling, call or text 988. You'll get skilled, caring support 24/7. Live up to a different kind of strength. The strength to ask for help. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker, who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to an absolutely not drama-filled Thursday at all. There's absolutely nothing going on in the world to talk about. I walked in today, and I'm like, it doesn't matter how fast I talk. And this is me talking to myself, which everybody probably does. There's no way I can get everything in 1 hour today. Like, ladies and gentlemen, this is a loaded freaking show today. And if you didn't know, this is the Adam Carriker Show, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and in the process, producer Jake and I have a whole lot of fun. Noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And if you're so inclined on Wednesdays, Joyce, Steve, Taylor, 5 days a week here on 93.7, The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Grab your lunch, come join us. We'll talk a whole lot of Husker sports, college football, and sports in general as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of stuff to talk about. Tommy Hill stuff to talk about. Nebraska basketball versus Creighton. Wow. I was coaching a kid one time. The kid's name was Braxton. The dad was Heath. He goes, that orange pumpkin smashing, pounding stuff. They liked wrestling and football. They were not basketball fans. Basketball was probably my favorite sport growing up because I wasn't allowed to play football until middle school. But we're going to talk a little bit about jayskering. Not spend a ton of time on it. But is it okay to jaysker? When is it okay to jaysker? Is it never okay to jaysker? You know, I want to open it up to the text line, to the call line, the text line. Give people that number real quick, Jake.
402-464-5685.
And we're going to play a clip from Fred Hoiberg, and then we're going to get into a whole bunch of football talk. Think about this matchup Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Our offensive coordinator, who's been here for 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, going on 3 weeks now, he's starting to become a veteran, ladies and gentlemen. Dana Holgorsen versus really nobody for Wisconsin. In fact, Luke Fickell was mad that they even asked who was going to call plays. They fire their offensive coordinator, all right? They don't have their starting quarterback. Their starting running back transferred after the third game of the season. They fire their offensive coordinator. All right, I just might pick Nebraska to win this game. Has nothing to do with Nebraska. Has everything to do with Wisconsin. Tune in tomorrow for my final official prediction of the week. But essentially what Luke Fickell said when asked who's going to call plays, it's going to be a group effort. Like, how does that work? A group effort? What is the play clock? 40 seconds, Jake?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Who wants to run the option? All right, hands up. All right, who wants to throw the ball? Play action. What if we want to sub the running back? What if this receiver? Oh, let's run screen. No, let's run screen left. All right, guys, we got 15 seconds left. Hands up. What are we going to run? Oh, we got to get the play. It's not a group effort. Somebody's calling the plays, and he doesn't want to tell us who it is because he knows people aren't going to like the answer. It's Dana Holgorsen versus Casper, ladies and gentlemen. Now, their guy's been there all year. Our guy's rather new. But I like that matchup. When you think about coordinators, I feel like we've got the advantage. Tony White, Dana Holgorsen. The only advantage they have is Casper, whoever it is, has been there presumably all season. Either that or they've snuck some guy in, and that's why Luke Fickell doesn't want to tell us who it is, because it's not a guy with the name recognition of Dana Holgorsen. We don't know. It's Casper because it's not a group effort. That's a bunch of BS. So I like our offensive coordinator matchup versus Casper and Dana Holgorsen. I like our D coordinator, Tony White. Okay, and Wisconsin's always good at defense, just like Iowa, the next opponent. But they've struggled to stop the run. They've struggled to get after the quarterback this year. All right, Wisconsin's defense is only averaging 1.4 sacks per game. So even if you round, that's 1 sack a game. They're not very good at stopping the run. Now, their pass defense is 4th in the country, which is amazing because normally a good pass rush bleeds into good pass defense stats. So their cornerbacks are pretty good. All right, so I will give them that. Their current starting quarterback that people are saying should be benched has not played well. He actually started out well, but as of late has really struggled. 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in his most recent games. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. Again, you want to be 2-to-1. I understand our quarterback has not exactly been where we want him to be either, but even his touchdown to interception ratio, 11-to-10, is slightly better than 8-to-8, slightly above 1-to-1. We're not going to round because that gives us the benefit of the doubt. Stats, ladies and gentlemen. That was a class where I learned nothing about, I learned nothing but gambling the entire class. That's all he talked about was the odds of this, the odds of that in stats in college. It was highly entertaining. But let's get back to jayskering. I want to know, ladies and gentlemen, is it appropriate to jaysker? Text in, let us know. If it's not, I accept that answer. If it is, when is it okay to jaysker? Because I can only think of twice. There's only 2 times where it's even remotely acceptable to jaysker. Text in, let us know your thoughts. In the meantime, let's play that clip from Mr. Fred Hoiberg.
Going into year 6 in this rivalry in the state. The weird thing about this one is that on the next day, a lot of those fans will be cheering for Nebraska on a football field. That's always been a little bit bizarre to me, but you know, it is. These rivalry games are really fun for the fans. They're not very much fun for the coach.
Jake, let me know what people say. Even if they send in a novel like the other day, just pick out the part that matters, okay? By the way, if you send in a comment and it's not read on air, it's Jake's fault. I'm just going to say it. It's Jake's fault. Jake picks and chooses. All right. I'm the man of the people. It's never my fault. I digress. I'm not at home, so I can get away with saying that. Jake, is it ever in your mind okay to jaysker?
I wouldn't say, not when Nebraska is playing great, and obviously you just...
Absolutely
if you get across
not.
That line, then you're in trouble.
Ever. Ever. Any scenario.
I mean, I cheer for the state of basketball in Nebraska. I'd like to see if Nebraska have a top 10 team. If it's not going to be the Huskers, it's at least entertaining to have Creighton. So I believe that, yes, you can cheer for Creighton.
All right. I won't argue. There's 2 times, in my opinion. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. Then we're going to move on to pure football talk. By the way, Joey Galloway, we're going to play this clip at the end. This is one of my former freaking teammates, a guy who's at ESPN. I brought him on the Chronicles earlier this year. I brought him on because he does not care. He is knowledgeable, he is honest, and he will say a whole bunch of stuff right to someone's face, and he doesn't care. That's why I know quite a few people at various places, ESPN, Big Ten Network, etc. Sometimes I bring him on the Chronicles. Check out CarrikerChronicles.com, also YouTube. I picked him because I knew he'd be blunt and honest, and when he came on, he was. But Joey, he wants Indiana to bench their quarterback this Saturday versus Ohio State. He's not hurt, by the way. 100% healthy. Off a bye week. We're going to play that later in the show. We're going to play Matt Rhule's clip about Tommy Hill later in the show. That's just an interesting one to me. I know they just played it, which is why we're going to wait till later in the show. We're going to give us some time space on air here on the ticket. All right. But before we dive completely into football, in my mind, and let me know if I'm right, let me know if I'm wrong, okay? Present some proof, facts, and evidence. Don't just, say yes, no, right, wrong, or whatever. Doesn't have to be a novel, though. When you send in your text or call in, you can call in, too, if you'd like. 2 times. Number 1, I'm just going to say it. It'd be better if we were in Omaha so Creighton fans could hear this, and then they could bombard me, and that'd be okay. Creighton's not good enough to have a football team. Bam! So you got to root for the Huskers if you want to root for football in the state of Nebraska. There you go. All right. I just turned heel on every Creighton fan, but the problem is we're not in Omaha, so they probably aren't hearing me.
I said the whole text line just pretty much hates jaysker. So.
All right. Well, I don't mind if they root for Nebraska football because they don't have a football team to root for themselves. Or the way I just said it, they're not good enough to have their own football team. I like that way better because it, a little bit more jab to the side-ish. Number 2, if the NCAA tournament rolls around or like the College World Series in baseball or other sports, and I'm with Jake, I want the state of Nebraska to be represented well. It's the same reason in the college football playoff, I'm inevitably going to root for Ohio State. I want the Big Ten to do well. Just like Michigan last year, I don't care about Michigan. I don't care about Ohio State. I care about the Big Ten looking good. So I rooted for Michigan, especially when they played Alabama, where they think the NFL or SEC is college football's version of the NFL. It is a pretty darn good conference, but it's not head and shoulders above everybody else. It's just a little bit better right now, this year anyways. We need teams like USC, Nebraska, and a few other teams to step it up, and then it'll be a little bit more level field conversation between the Big Ten and SEC. So for me, it's okay because Creighton doesn't have their own football team. Everybody in the state of Nebraska is allowed to root for Nebraska football, in my humble opinion. Is the text line just utterly hating what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, most of them, again, it's been this way for years. They hate jayskers.
To be clear, other than these two times, it is not appropriate to jaysker. It is not appropriate to root for Creighton. Or if it's some sort of national setting, like the NCAA basketball tournament, the College World Series in baseball, I will root for Creighton or, Ohio State, Michigan for the Big Ten, because I want the state of Nebraska to look good and I want the Big Ten to look good. Other than that, I don't think it's ever okay to jaysker, in my opinion. And
I think there's layers to it too. It's not just that. It's not like I casually cheer for Creighton when the tournament hits, or just like I said, just because I like to see good basketball in Nebraska. I've been up there and seen a few of the games, but they are like your active rival, right? Especially since you've gone from the Big 8, Big 12 to the Big 10. You don't necessarily have those long-standing rivals. They are active rivals. Like somebody on the text line says, when they played Iowa, when they played Texas, I cheer against Creighton. That's how much there is a hatred for Creighton on from some Nebraska basketball standpoints.
I can't get behind the Texas one. Like Texas is the ultimate team that I'm never going to root for. Gag me you is what I have dubbed them this year. That was totally unprompted, by the way, when I started saying that. Gag me. I will never root for Gag me you. Okay. I don't care who they're playing. All right. And to be clear, like I'm not sitting here saying I'm grabbing a bag of popcorn, setting the timer and sitting down and watching Creighton play in the College World Series or the NCAA tournament. I'm just like, oh, what's the score? Okay, cool. I hope they win. I hope they score one more point. It's not like Nebraska where we're there, we're paying attention. We got the family, we got everybody, paying attention if Nebraska's in the NCAA tournament, the College World Series, whatever the case may be. Like we are paying attention. I got my girls like, Dad, Nebraska volleyball is Saturday at this time and Sunday at this time. Like, other than when Creighton played in Nebraska and I haven't watched a single Creighton match all year. So to be clear, this is not some sort of high priority on my list. It's just kind of like, slightly 50.1% of me prefer they win. But it's okay. The people don't seem to agree, according to Jake, and that's all right. What are your thoughts on the football thing? And then we'll move on.
What's that?
Well, they're not good enough to have their own football team. You like how I phrased that? They're not good enough to have their own football team, so we'll allow them to ride our coattails in football. What do you think of that?
Again, that's where it gets awkward. I can agree with it, but if you're not a Nebraska fan, like if you're not a Nebraska fan during the basketball season, if you're going to choose Creighton over them, then it like makes me question your Nebraska football fanhood to begin with. Because for me, like it's like, yeah, I've got other teams I like, but Nebraska football of my fanhood in totality is like Nebraska basketball, Nebraska in general, like 90% of it. Yeah, there's some other teams I like here and there, but I just can't imagine actively cheering against Nebraska basketball as a Nebraska football fan. It's just a different type of person. But again, if you're someone that grows up in Omaha, a few blocks down from Creighton, it'd be hard for me to fault you for liking the local Omaha program, that's in your city.
So for me, I don't think they're going to be passionate. They're going to be coattail riders. They're going to be not much of a bandwagon, but you get my point. They're going to be bandwagon as much as you can be right now. They're probably going to be like checking the score, maybe going to the game, hanging out, making sure they're staying hydrated, but that's about it. Hanging out with the buddies, so to speak, but they're not going to be passionate. Otherwise, I'm with you. Then it's just fake. Like, don't be fake about it. Okay. All right, let's move on. Dana Holgorsen. I kind of already went through my whole diatribe. Like, Dana Holgorsen versus Casper is essentially the offensive coordinator matchup we have this week. And Dylan Rhule talked about he expects the biggest jump in improvement. And again, this is going to be within a realm of reason about being reasonable. God, I tried to make up a word and totally failed. Within the realm of being reasonable, of what you can reasonably expect. The strain was real to try to say that right there. The strain. Bob Diaco came out.
Yes.
But I digress. My point is you can expect a certain amount of improvement. As time goes along, you're going to expect more and more improvement the longer Dana is here. Okay, hopefully he's here for, many, many months past December. But we'll get to that when the time is right. In the meantime, game 1 to game 2, as I said the other day, is when teams tend to experience the biggest leap of improvement. So maybe game 1 to game 2, we could expect within what is reasonable, the biggest leap of improvement for Nebraska's offense. Potentially, maybe not. I don't know. But I like Dana Holgorsen versus Casper in our OC versus OC matchup. And then here's the other thing. You want to look at, because Dana talked about the running backs. And he talked about we got to get more out of the running backs. USC's in the press conference. He talked about USC's running backs made some of our guys miss. And the most damning thing I thought he said was USC's tacklers against us had hard tackles to make, and they made them. In other words, like when you think about the one-on-one matchups that happened last Saturday, our running back versus their defender, more often than not, their defender made the tackle. When you think about why our wide receivers were struggling to get open in man-to-man defense, it's literally man-to-man. It's a one-on-one matchup across the board. We couldn't get open. USC dominated the one-on-one matchups in the areas that mattered the most. Tackler versus running back. Wide receiver in coverage versus a DB. Like, that's why our offense, by itself, without any help from the defense, totaled 10 total points. The defense itself produced 10, pick 6, and gave our offense the ball at the 16, and we ended up with a field goal. So that's why the offense struggles so much. You've got to win those one-on-one matchups a little bit more. I do think Dana can figure some things out. I do think he's going to learn more and more. Like at the press conference the other day, I noticed he wasn't saying players' names. He was saying numbers. Well, that's okay. He hasn't been here long enough to know everybody's name. But as long as he understands numbers, that's really about all you need. And I'm still curious to see what he can do with a guy like Ja'Cory Barney. Let me see here. Ja'Cory did something the other day. I wrote it down. I got it. True freshman receiver Ja'Cory Barney caught 2 passes. And this was just in the first half, okay? Increasing his season total to 40 reception. That ties the Nebraska season record for catches by a true freshman, matching Wan'Dale Robinson in 2019. I don't recall if he had a catch in the second half, but I'm sure he's going to break that record. He's got 2 whole games left to do it. So that's a guy who can win a one-on-one matchup for you. You got to start with guys like that. All right. Nebraska running backs and the issues that we've had. We have not had. I'm just going to read this here. The Nebraska running back position for Nebraska football was once one of the greatest positions in the sport. From Mike Rozier to Amon Green to Amir Dula, the Huskers produced 29 seasons with a running back hitting the 1,000-yard mark on the season between the Tom Osborne and Bo Pelini eras. 29 seasons. In the decade since Bo was fired, only Divino Zigbo, I believe that was 2015. Do you remember the exact year, Jake? Look that up real quick. Only Divino Zigbo was able to cross the 1,000-yard mark in a season as a running back. What was once a force in college football has faded away. Since Nebraska's last 1,000-yard back, 13 teams have had a 1,000-yard back in the Big Ten. These teams include West Coast passing teams such as Washington, USC, and Oregon, who have only played in the Big Ten as a member of the conference a season. UCLA had a 1,000-yard running back in 2022 when their running back went for 1,359 yards for Chip Kelly. Purdue and Maryland both had 1,000-yard running backs in 2018, along with the Huskers. That must have been Divino Zigbo's year. Purdue is the only team with a longer streak, having not had a 1,000-yard back since Corey Sheets in 2008. So I was like, all right, who have been Nebraska's leaders rushing-wise since 2014? And here's what came up. There's articles below this, but here's the first 3 names that came up. Here are some of the leading rushers for Nebraska Cornhuskers football since 2014. You're going to notice a common theme / problem with the names that pop up. Tommy Armstrong Jr., Adrian Martinez, Taylor Martinez. Of course, he was before 2014. I don't know why he popped up. What is the problem with those 3 names as far as leading rushers, Jake?
Quarterback.
Yes. That is not a great sign. Not a great sign at all. So then I was like, all right, who have we had? And I clicked on some of the articles below. And when you go back in Nebraska football history, the highest ranked rusher we have, according to total career yardage, is Divino Zigbo since 2014. He doesn't even break the top 25 on Nebraska's career rushing yards list for running backs. He's 26th. All right, Terrell Newby, who was 2013, is 2 slots ahead of him. Adrian Martinez, all right, is 22. Marlon Lucky, et cetera, et cetera. We've got to get back. And I'm not saying you have to have one single running back, okay? It's easier if you do. I've always liked the 2 running back approach, thunder and lightning, if that works, if that fits your personnel. One running back is fine. You obviously got to have someone in case your starter gets banged up or dinged up or needs a break. But we've got to be able to run the ball better. Okay, and it was interesting because I said throughout the game, wow, this is the best rushing attack, yards per carry, 4.8, we've had since UTEP. I talked about that throughout the game, and then Dana talked about, hey, there was more holes there. And he didn't want to talk about the previous 8 games because he wasn't here, which makes sense. But that was the best blocking we'd had up front since UTEP. Since UTEP. There's multiple problems with that. 1, it's UTEP. 2, that was like 9 years ago. So I'm glad the blocking was better against USC. My only caveat is, can we do it versus Wisconsin? Can we do it versus Iowa? I talked about it multiple times. USC lost one of their starting defensive linemen. Okay, he entered the transfer portal about a month into the season, and they only have 2 defensive linemen on their entire roster, on their entire defense, actually, 2 players on the entire defense that are 300 pounds or more. So they're not built to stop the run. So can we continue to block like that in the run game versus Wisconsin and Iowa, teams that are known for being physical? Wisconsin's run stopping ability right now is not as good as it's been in the past. Iowa's still pretty darn good. All right, so for me, that's kind of where my head is at. Is what can we take advantage of? You look at Wisconsin. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the year that Indiana and Illinois, at the times that we played them, would be tougher opponents than Wisconsin and Iowa? And with all due respect, we may lose both these games. I hope we win both. I really hope we at least win one. But I would say right now, Indiana and Illinois are tougher than Wisconsin and Iowa. So when we looked at those first 7 games, like, oh my God, it's a cakewalk. It was a little misleading. You never know what's going to happen. All hell breaks loose when the ball's kicked off, as I've said a million times. But if we can't beat Wisconsin right now, I'm probably going to, I've already picked Nebraska earlier this week. The odds are I'm going to stick with that. But if we can't beat Wisconsin right now, it's more about Wisconsin than anything we're doing at the moment. They're in such disarray. If we can't beat them right now, I don't know what to say. So we're favored. The spread has gone up since Sunday when we opened as a 1-point favorite. Now we're a 2.5-point favorite. There's a reason for that. With all due respect to what we're doing here. And when we come back, I completely forgot to promote Carriker's Trivia Challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing Carriker's Trivia Challenge today. I came in with so much on the docket here. Look at all these freaking papers. Like, look at this. Look at this. All right. If you're not, just listen. If you can't see me, listen. I'm just crinkling up one paper over and over. No, I'm just kidding. Is there a bunch of papers here?
There is, yeah.
I forgot to promote Carriker's Trivia Challenge. All right. Right after this, or whenever we get a caller in, Carriker's Trivia Challenge. I've lost 2 in a row. I'm not happy. Nightmares are real. And I still see Lendale White crossing the end zone, costing me last week's trivia challenge. How did he have so many touchdowns? Wasn't he with Reggie Bush? Yes, he was. I digress. They gave the ball to Lendale versus Texas for a reason. All right. I've got like 3 things in my head right now. I've completely lost track of what I was talking about before Carriker's Trivia Challenge. Let's do this. Carriker's Trivia Challenge. Call in. You want to go mano-a-mano with yours truly, see if you can get me under 500 and ruin my entire week. All right, what is that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
And what was I talking about right before that? The running backs?
Yeah.
No, there was something after that. Oh, Wisconsin and where they're at. Like, I've got some stats after the break or after Carriker's Trivia Challenge, whatever happens next, that they're going to break your heart. But then I've got a thought, and it's not outside the realm of possibility at all. And I tell you what, it's going to pick your spirits right back up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, call that number. Take on yours truly. In the meantime, we're going to talk Nebraska, Wisconsin. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Mulberry Barbecue is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Have you been told by your physician that your testosterone level is fine, but you don't feel fine? Get a second opinion. If your testosterone level is 200, 350, even 500, and you still have symptoms, come to Limitless Male. We treat the person and the symptoms, not the number. Our mission is for you to feel optimal again. So if you're tired all the time, no energy, brain fog, muscle loss, nothing left in the tank, get your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
The McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Leicester City opens up the action against Chelsea at 6:30 a.m., followed by Fulham taking on Wolves at 9 a.m. To cap off the Saturday action, Man City will face off against Tottenham at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Liverpool will play Southampton at 8 a.m., followed by Ipswich Town taking on Man United. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Hard work. It's what drives Nebraska. It defines our strength. Men like you live it every day. But sometimes living up to those expectations can be overwhelming. If you're struggling, call or text 988. You'll get skilled, caring support 24/7. Live up to a different kind of strength. The strength to ask for help. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nebraska's Christmas Light Show is back and bigger than ever. The Magical Lights of Lincoln Christmas Show runs from Black Friday through New Year's Eve at Sandhills Global Event Center. Bring the family for a show they'll never forget, featuring over 1.5 million lights. Cost is $25 per vehicle from Monday through Thursday, $30 on Friday and Saturday, and also $30 on Christmas Eve and Day. Purchase your tickets online today at ChristmasLightsInLincoln.com and get ready to experience a drive-through light show like you've never seen before.
There are moments in life, surrounded by family and friends, when you realize this is what it's all about. For 65 years, the Riddles family has been creating jewelry to capture these precious moments, crafting one memory at a time to last forever. Now, join them in celebrating Riddles Jewelry's 65th anniversary with incredible savings. Enjoy up to 30% off engagement rings. And for a limited time, save up to an additional $700 on your ring purchase. At Riddles, they're more than jewelry. They're here to help you create moments that truly sparkle, surrounded by the people who matter most. Family owned. Today, tomorrow, forever. Riddles Jewelry.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. An afternoon high around 44. Tonight, clear skies and calm winds, the low around 27. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day with light winds, and a high around 50. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a challenger for Carriker's Trivia Challenge. But real quick, before we do that, all right, we did a little digging. Jake did a little digging. It is, in fact, true. Wisconsin has a former player named Gary Casper. I bet that's who they brought back. It's Gary Casper versus Dana Holgorsen this weekend, and that's why Luke Fickell doesn't want to talk about it. We'll ignore that he played defense. He was their second all-time leading tackler. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Also, segment 2 of Adam Carriker, the Adam Carriker Show, and the ticket is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue at 11th and Cornhusker. Open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, a barbecue nachos. That just sounds good. All right. A full slab of ribs, half smoked chicken. Why would you not go here? Go here, ladies and gentlemen. It's phenomenal. Much, much more, plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, located at 11th and Cornhusker. All right, Jake, bring on our our guest onto the show.
All right, Jordan, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jordan can hear us. He's looking to put Adam Carriker under 500 in our game show here. What is at stake? Well, that is, of course, $20 to the Pillar Restaurant Group, which includes Goodson's Deli Fresh Subs and Piedmont Bistro. If you are out there, you should be cheering for Adam in this one because he plays for the people. If Adam wins, then caller number 3 gets to claim the prize. If Jordan wins, well, of course, Jordan gets the prize. So are you ready to go, Jordan? Typically, we go with the opposition first.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm ready to go.
All right. This week, it's Wisconsin trivia. Of course, the opponent for the upcoming week. I get some game show music in here just to make it all feel nice and comfy there. All right, let's go at 3 questions, either or. You can't be that far off. Who had more career rushing yards, Jonathan Taylor or Ron Dane?
I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor.
It was actually Ron Dane.
Ooh.
All right.
All right.
Next one up. More career rushing yards. Was it P.J. Hill or Braylon Allen?
Braylon Allen.
It is actually P.J. Hill in this case. And for a chance to get on the board here, more career passing yards, Joel Stabby or Graham Mertz?
Joel Stabby.
It is Joel Stabby, so Jordan does finish with 1 point and is hoping for a poor performance from Adam Carriker. Carriker, we move over to you now. The pressure is on.
Bring it.
More career rushing yards for Wisconsin, Monty Ball or Melvin Gordon?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, Melvin Gordon.
It is Monty Ball.
You mean the 3 quarters in the snow didn't make a difference there?
It did.
Oh, God.
If he would have played another year, I think he would have had it. More career rushing yards for Wisconsin, Anthony Davis or James White?
Anthony Davis.
That is correct. Anthony Davis, you're on the board. For the win, otherwise we'll have to go to tiebreaker. Who had more career receiving yards for Wisconsin? Is it Jared Abbrederis or Lee Evans?
Lee Evans.
It was Lee Evans. Carriker wins and goes above 500. Jordan, thank you for playing in any case today.
Jordan?
Thank
you, Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And by the way, Jordan, as you hang up, you can still be caller number 3. So whoever is caller number 3 now, 402-464-5685, will win the prize today. Once again, $20 to the Pillar Restaurant Groups to include Good Sense Deli, Fresh Subs, and Piedmont Bistro.
Here's what matters the most. My winning percentage is now 60%, which brings me above Steve Sipple.
That's right.
It doesn't matter that he's done this about 500 more times than I have. I'm 3-2, which brings me to a 60% winning percentage. So Sipple, if you're out there, I'm just ahead of you, buddy. I'm just ahead of you, my friend. Sipple is so awesome. I love Shut Up Sipple. That is a phenomenal game they do here on not every morning, but they do every week here on the morning show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a quick one. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about Joey Galloway. Says they should bench Indiana's starting quarterback versus Ohio State, Curtis Rourke. And then we're going to play Matt Rhule's press conference comments on Tommy Hill, who will not be playing the last 2 regular games of the season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
At Koppel Chevrolet GMC, we are thankful for so many things this year, starting with our great employees, a generous community, our military personnel, and most importantly, our loyal customer base that continues to drive that money-saving mile of Louisville. Hi, this is Sean Callahan, and on behalf of everybody at Koppel, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to wherever they may take you. Happy holidays from Koppel Chevrolet GMC.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
We fix basements.
We fix basements.
We fix basements.
We fix basements. We fix basements.
At F Foundation Repair, we've been fixing basements for over 30 years. We're your local foundation repair experts. Our warranties stay here. Our people work here. You can trust us to take care of your home. Go to wefixbasements.com to learn more.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hard work. It's what drives Nebraska. It defines our strength. Men like you live it every day. But sometimes living up to those expectations can be overwhelming. If you're struggling, call or text 988. You'll get skilled, caring support 24/7. Live up to a different kind of strength, the strength to ask for help. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Check out theticketfm.com, carrikerchronicles.com, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X. The Ticket is everywhere. Carriker Chronicles is everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, my former teammate, a man who was in his 16th year in the NFL when I was in D.C. with him, right, Joey Galloway. There aren't many receivers that play for 16 years. So an impressive career, a highly intelligent man, especially when it comes to football, and he doesn't care what we think, which is why I love him. Said one of the most, not ass of 7, not ass of 8, ass of 9 things I've ever seen in my entire life. I shot him a text. He responded with love and some things in between, but that's okay because that's Joey and I love him for it. All right, Jake, play the clip. By the way, Will Compton went on Twitter and said he should be fired for this. I don't know about that, but play the clip.
They can't go any higher. They are behind a one-loss team. They have a chance to go on the road and prove what they are. Now, honestly, if we believe in what our metrics are saying, if I'm Indiana, I don't know if I'm playing Rourke against Ohio State. We've seen what happened to Florida State last year, Jordan Travis. What could keep Indiana out of this? Getting their quarterback hurt. We've seen it happen to Florida State last year, having not played anybody. Or losing by 30. If you look at 3, 4, and 5, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana, they literally have played nobody between all 3 teams. The toughest team in that is Vandy. So a lot of this that we're looking at is eye test because Boog, when you look at the resumes of 3, 4, and 5, it brings back the idea of let me not play anybody and be undefeated. Yeah. And be in a good position. I agree with that. The eye test is going to matter because 3, 4, 5 have played nobody, and that includes Indiana.
So Joey makes some good points, and then he makes an asinine point. All right, my good buddy. But look at 3, 4, and 5. Texas, their best wins of the season, with all due respect to Vanderbilt, who has not played at the same level since they beat Alabama. They're still a good team, to be honest with you, but they've got about 4 losses right now. That's marked as one of their 2 best wins. And Arkansas, who also has 4 losses. So that's their 2 best wins on the year. Neither team is ranked. Indiana. So I saw one thing where Indiana's best win was against Nebraska. And I was like, well, I appreciate the compliment. Wow, okay. But here it's marked as Michigan and Washington. By the way, both teams have 4 losses or more, and Indiana's overall strength of record is 106th in the country. And then you got Penn State, whose 2 best wins, Illinois just eked into the top 25. So a week ago, this would not have been the case. Illinois at 25, a decent football team. Okay, decent. And Wisconsin, who's 500. And we're probably going to beat this weekend. Just saying, not to give away my prediction. Again, that'll be finalized tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow to the Adam Carriker Show. So they have not played a lot of tough teams. Neither one of these teams have a top 30 strength of schedule. Indiana's not in the top 100. Yet, they're ranked. I got to get this right. 3, 4, and 5. So strength of schedule does need to matter more. I mean, there's some other things that don't make any sense. Notre Dame is number 6 despite losing to Northern Illinois. I haven't pointed that out yet this year, Jake. I need to point that out more often.
I haven't mentioned that, yeah.
Alabama jumps 3 spots to number 7 after beating Mercer? Really? Their 3rd bye week of the year, and you reward them with jumping them 3 spots. Okay, Georgia, and this doesn't make any sense to me. Number 10 despite the number 1 strength of schedule. I've talked about their schedule many times. SMU, number 13, despite 1 loss to number 14. I actually think BYU. I actually think SMU is going to get in because I think they're going to beat Miami in one of the most entertaining ACC title games of all time. Okay, but they lost to BYU, who's 14th. They're 13th, but they have the same record, but they're somehow ahead of the team that they lost to. Okay, well, that makes sense. 2 plus 2 doesn't have to equal 4, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just make it equal 1,000 if we want. All right, and Missouri is still number 23, despite having lost 2 of their last 3 games, being blown out in their 3 losses by almost 100 points combined, and they have 3 losses on the year. All right, so they've got other issues. But as far as the actual topic at hand, not playing Curtis Rourke because of what happened to Florida State's quarterback last year and how that affected Florida State. So, number 1, there's a lot of teams at the bottom of this that are going to have an argument to get in. Number 9, Ole Miss. Number 10, Georgia. Number 10, Georgia is barely in with the toughest strength of schedule in the country and the top football program in America right now. Right now, Tennessee, who, by the way, has a win over Alabama, and has played a brutal schedule, and their losses are to such teams as Georgia, and I know they lost to Kentucky. That's probably the biggest strike against them, the Kentucky team that played within 1 point of the Bulldogs. But they're probably not in right now due to the bracket and the way it's going to unfold, mostly because if Colorado or BYU have to get in, the Big 12 team has to get in as the champ, they're going to bump Tennessee out. So is Boise, who's actually ranked below them. That doesn't even include SMU if they upset Miami. Then what do you do with Miami, who's currently the 8th team in the country with only 1 loss? I wouldn't have them in if they lose to SMU. That's just me. So for me, there's all sorts of issues with this college football playoff the way it is right now. Indiana, if they go up there and they win, there's no questions asked. They're not going to beat Ohio State without Curtis Rourke. You're basically saying we can't beat Ohio State if you bench your starter. Here's the other thing. They're not guaranteed to be in if they lose. There is a lot of SEC teams down here whose strength of schedule, Ole Miss, Georgia, who's in the top 5, top 10, and they're going to say, we got one more loss than this Who's Your Daddy school, and we're somehow behind them, and our strength of schedule is about 100 slots higher. I'm telling you, the SEC and the Big Ten are looking for a reason to secede from the rest of college football and create an AFC, NFC style model. They're just waiting. Boise gets a first round bye and a top 4 seed, which they might. That could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Indiana goes up and loses by 3 touchdowns and gets in. I don't know, let's just say Georgia. Are you kidding me? Over Georgia? There's no way that's going to happen. People will put Georgia in. If Indiana goes up and they lose by 7, 10, 3, you got a different conversation. You're not doing that with your backup quarterback. Indiana might upset them. Indiana might lose by 4 touchdowns. If Indiana loses by 4 touchdowns and their quarterback's on the bench, and that's very likely to happen, their backup quarterback actually isn't half bad. He came in against us and did just fine. Unfortunately, we got an up-close look at him in our second half. But he's number 2 in America when it comes to quarterback efficiency right now. Number 1 in the Big Ten. You don't sit that guy for multiple reasons. When Jadeveon Clowney was going into his junior year and everyone's like, he should sit out. He's the number 1 pick overall no matter what. I hated that. In 2020, when Nebraska voted not to go to a bowl game, I hated that. By the way, not everything everyone does all the time is okay. There's right and there's wrong, and people need to be held accountable. I was like one of 2 people that said that's BS at the time. Look back on it now. I bet there's more than 2 people that feel that way. I'm not going to throw his name out there, but there was a guy who skipped the last game, an offensive lineman who skipped the last game of a regular season game for Nebraska a few years ago. What in the blue hell is that? My point is you go out and you compete. And if you're scared of getting hurt, there's other sports where you're much less likely to get hurt. The injury rate, if you play long enough in football, is 100%. That's okay. There's a lot of other options in life. But this idea of sit out your junior year so you can be the number 1 pick. I'm going to skip regular season games. The bowl game thing, I get guys opting out. The fact is they're not being held accountable. That's a topic that I will address come December when all these opt-outs happen. They're not being held accountable. They should be fined. They should have to pay back NIL money and scholarship money. Topic for another day. They're not being held accountable. I actually put that on the way the system is set up right now. My point is this. It's one of the most asinine things I've ever heard, to sit your starting quarterback in the biggest game of the year when you have an opportunity to make a statement. And if you lose, you're not guaranteed to be in. If they lose within like 1 possession, 8 or less, Indiana should be in. But if they go up there, they play their backup quarterback, and they lose by 3 scores, 21 points, they're going to look at Tennessee. They're going to look at Georgia. They're going to look at Ole Miss. With some of the wins that these teams have, these teams have beaten Texas. These teams have beaten Alabama. These teams have beaten Georgia. Talking about Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss just beat Georgia by 18 points, I might add. And they're going to point to strength of schedule. And they're going to say, you don't want to put us in? Which they will, by the way. And they should, by the way. They're going to say, okay, we're over here. We're going to take our ball and go home, and our ball's a lot bigger than yours. Ball. I said ball, ladies and gentlemen, singular. All right. You got any thoughts on that, Jake? Did that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. It still baffles my mind. Nebraska didn't go to a bowl game that they didn't even earn, but were offered.
Think back to how many people said it was okay at the time. Just think back. Just think back. Just think back. All right. let's play Matt Rhule's comments. Tommy Hill is going to be out the last 2 games. Maybe ready for a bowl game, maybe not. Let's hear Matt Rhule, his comments, and what he had to say on the matter.
Yeah, no, Tommy will be out the next 2 games. You know, he's tried to play. It's obviously it's tough for him. He's dealing with a lot, and so I just shut him down. You know, he's been invited to the Senior Bowl. Maybe he'll be ready for bowl practice, but he's out there, but he's playing half speed, 3/4 speed, and so that's led to obviously led to the first touchdown in this game, led to the first touchdown in the Indiana game, led to first touchdown in the Illinois game. So I feel for him. Came into the year with high expectations. You know, had the foot injury, and it's just never quite been the same.
So, Matt Rhule's going to have his guys back. He's not going to throw them under the bus. He's more willing than ever to say things about players publicly over the past month than he has ever been. Players got to play, and all that stuff I actually think is fair. He's never shied away from saying, hey, we got to do better. Coaches got to do this better. Okay, if you're just saying players need to play and you never address what's going on coaching-wise, I got a problem with it. But he's always started with the coaches, and now he's kind of been more out there with the players. So if you want to take him at face value, this is an injury that he's been dealing with, and it's been slowing him up. The first touchdown of the Illinois game. Illinois was a long time ago. Just FYI, September 19th, if I remember. No. That was pre-Rutgers.
Yeah, so that would have been September 20th, I believe.
20th. Oh, well, I had the right. Okay. September 20th. First touchdown the Indiana game, first touchdown the USC game. He didn't stop with why he was going half speed. He proceeded to describe things. There's, to me, a little bit of meaning in that. There's certain guys on the team who have not played as much as other guys who are, and I've had people tell me, the most NFL-ready people at certain positions. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I know information. I've been sitting on it, and I'm tiptoeing, and I'm not going to tiptoe too far. Don't worry. DP, you're good. There is a certain expectation when it comes to level of play and attitude, and Matt Rhule is going to hold people accountable to that. If an injury is holding you up, he's going to hold the situation accountable. If it's effort, if it's otherwise, he's going to hold that accountable or the person accountable. He's not going to come out and just blatantly say it in a press conference. Sometimes you can kind of piece things together here and there as to what they may or may not mean. Was that clear as mud, Jake?
Well, he mentioned the foot injury. I do think
going half speed.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't put a guy on the field who can play 100% or who can only play half speed due to an injury.
Yeah, and it's clear as day. I mean, the way he phrased it, maybe I would have refrained from bringing down every play that he's had problem in, because we can all see it. We can see this isn't the same Tommy Hill that put up really good tape against likely the Heisman winner and Travis Hunter, and hasn't been the same since.
So for me, I agree with you. But if a guy can only go half speed, because I know what it's like to be evaluated for an injury to see if you can play. If you're only going half speed, they're not going to put you out there. They put you out there if you can go. But if you're only going half speed, that's an issue. That makes sense? All right.
I see it. I see what you're saying.
Consider the line towed in a not so obvious, in a way too obvious way, however you want to take it. All right. Some depressing stats, and then a little bit of optimism. And then I'll let you enjoy your Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. The last 6 games of Nebraska's football season since 2019. 2019, we went 1-5. 2021, we went 0-6. 2022, we went 1-5. 2023, we went 2-4. Last year, we went 0-4. This year, the last football game we won was pretty much in September, October 5th, Rutgers. Now, you look at the next 2 games. The last time we beat Iowa, I'm sorry, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. We've beaten Iowa 1 time since Bo Pelini got fired. 1-6 in our last 7 games. 1-9 in our last 10 games versus Wisconsin, and the last time we beat them was 2012, since we joined the Big Ten. All right, now, let me see if I can scroll here. This is via Pick Six Previews on X. Nebraska has officially posted the worst decade of any blue blood program in college football history. 68 losses from 2015 to 2024. The previous worst for a blue blood, the 8 blue bloods are Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, USC. The previous worst was 52 losses, 1991 to 2000, Alabama, and 1995 to 04, Alabama, which was 51 losses. We're at 68. Okay. So, and just for perspective, Luke Fickell and Matt Rhule were hired at the same time. Luke Fickell's 12-11, Matt Rhule's 10-12. Okay. Just for perspective. Now, have I thoroughly depressed you over there, Jake?
Yeah, I feel hopeless.
All right. So I said all that to say this. I interviewed Charlie McBride. I said, hey, you got us beat in Wisconsin? He goes, I got us beat in Wisconsin and Iowa. And I about fell out of my chair. I'm like, Charlie, it's me. You don't have to feed me Kool-Aid. He's like, no. He goes, I have us beating Wisconsin and Iowa. I spoke to, I don't think he'd mind if I say his name, Steve Taylor. He said the same thing. And I'm sitting here like, is there loony juice in the water in Lincoln? What is going on? Of course, Charlie's not in Lincoln, but just on Earth, is it loony juice everywhere? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Wisconsin does not have their starting quarterback. Their quarterback is basically out there because they don't have another guy they can put in because the fans want him benched. He has as many INTs as he does touchdowns. Their best running back is no longer there. He left after the third game of the year. Their offensive coordinator, nobody even knows who it is right now. They're in disarray. You look at Iowa. Their starter is out. They don't even want to play Cade McNamara, and they're probably going to play a walk-on third stringer against us. Does this guarantee victory? Oh, no, it doesn't. But there is a world that is not so far-fetched and is not full of Kool-Aid or loony juice where Nebraska could somewhat realistically be 7-5. And we currently have the 19th ranked recruiting class in the country. Dawson Merritt told me to my face there's 2 more commits that are, and I quote, huge gets that are going to be committing / flipping to Nebraska soon. So there is a world that is not so far-fetched, despite everything I just read, where Nebraska could potentially be 7-5, go into a bowl game with a top 15 recruiting class. Now that I've thoroughly depressed you, there's a little bit of realistic, not guaranteed, but realistic optimism, ladies and gentlemen. You feel better, Jake?
Yeah. We're going 7-5. That's what you said.
And then the Super Bowl. All right. Until next time, go Big Red. And always remember to throw the bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.